Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 1st of September 2023. So in today's newspaper analysis, we are going to cover those topics that are important for the UPSC prelims and mains exam. So now let us quickly look into those articles that we are going to cover in today's discussion. So these are the list of articles that we are going to cover. So in all, we are going to cover 10 such articles, and apart from this, we are going to cover, let's say, like one other additional item as well. So this is the first topic that we are going to discuss. This topic is about Uniform Civil Code. Okay, so it says a progressive UCC must protect the child's best interest, right? So we all know that the central government has proposed to introduce the Uniform Civil Code in the Parliament. So in the month of September, from 18th to 22nd of September, they may introduce this particular bill in the Parliament. So with this, now let us understand about some more things related to this. Okay, so name of the topic is a progressive UCC must protect the child's best interest. A progressive UCC must protect the child's best interest. Child's best interest. So let us understand about this particular topic. So what is the context? Context is the central government, okay? Central government is going to propose a bill in the Parliament of India, okay? They are going to propose a bill in the Parliament of India for introducing the Uniform Civil Code, okay? For introducing Uniform Civil Code. This Uniform Civil Code is mentioned under Article 44 of the Constitution of India. So Article 44 of the Constitution of India comes under Directive Principles of State Policy. So Directive Principles of State Policies are those principles, right, that the state governments and the central government should keep in mind while framing any law, while framing any legislation. So this is one of the DPSP, this is one of the Directive Principles of State Policy. And this particular issue, which is the Uniform Civil Code, this issue has been there for a long time. Since the Constitution was drafted, this topic was there, but however, so far the Uniform Civil Code has not been implemented in India. Now the central government has, let's say, come together and they are thinking of introducing the Uniform Civil Code. So now we need to understand that, what is Uniform Civil Code, okay? So let us understand about the definition of Uniform Civil Code. So Uniform Civil Code is going to be a kind of legislation. It will be a law that's going to regulate, okay, which is going to regulate various aspects of personal law, okay. They are going to regulate various aspects of personal law. So what are the aspects that will be looked into by the Uniform Civil Code? Some of the aspects, like, let's say, how the marriage has to be done, right? Marriage related laws. Then divorce related laws, okay? Marriage, divorce related laws. Third, adoption related thing, okay? Adoption related thing will be looked into. Then fourth, inheritance related aspects will also be looked into, right? So apart from this, alimony, okay, related aspects will be looked into it. So there will be many such personal affairs that will be regulated through the Uniform Civil Code once it becomes a law, right? Once it becomes a law. As of now, how these things are being regulated? For these, there are presently multiple types of laws that are in place. For example, each religious institutions, for example, each religious identities, whether they are Muslims, right, whether if they are Muslims, so they are being governed by, right, all they are being governed by their own, let's say, Muslim personal law. Okay, so Muslims do have their own personal law. So for that they have All India Muslim Personal Law Board. Okay, that's there. If I talk about for people from the Hindu religion, so they do have the Hindu Marriage Act, right? So Hindu Marriage Act looks into, let's say, like issues related to that. For Buddhist, Christians, okay, so like, you know, I will write here Hindu Marriage Act. And for similarly for other religion also, they have their own personal laws that govern how they are going to get married, how divorce may happen, how the inheritance will happen. But the thing is, through this uniform civil code, the government of India wants to homogenize the way how these aspects are being dealt with by different religious communities, right? So they want to bring an umbrella legislation, a single set of laws, single set of rules, which is going to govern all these personal aspects, no matter from which religion the person comes, right? So this is the thing. But however, implementation of uniform civil code does have many challenges, because like each religious identity, they have their own personal laws and they have been practicing them, and it's been let's say many years that, like, you know, they have been practicing them. Okay, so the thing is, like, some of those personal law related things are not consistent, because, like, you know, there is no uniformity among different religious, let's say, personal practices. Okay, so making a uniform law for that thing is a challenging aspect for the government, and also whether it will be accepted, right, equally by all the religious minorities or all the religious identities are not known. Okay, so they may not be let's say accepted by all the religious, let's say, minorities or religious communities. And many of these religious identities have already let's say, like, you know, like raised their protest. They have said, like, you know, they are not going to accept this particular thing. However, the article that we are going to talk about, this article, which says a progressive uniform civil code must protect the child's best interest. Now, this article is related to, right? This article is just, let's say, connecting us with this particular thing, which is the third aspect that I had written here, which is adoption. Okay, so this particular topic deals with, this particular article deals with adoption related aspects under uniform civil code. So the author here mentions, right, what are the issues related to adoption, right? What are the issues related to adoption? One thing, for example, let's say, like, you know, there are, okay, so let's consider this is male, this is female. Let's say they are biological parents. Okay, so they are biological parents. They are biological parents, right? And these biological parents, yeah, please. So these biological parents, what they want to, let's say, like, you know, give their child. If they have a child, they want to give their child for adoption, right, through some agencies. So there can be, let's say, like, you know, some other third party, there can be an individual, or there can be a couple who can adopt a child, But what happens once they adopt the child? What are the things that this child is going to face, right? How this adoption related thing will be dealt with, right? So for that, we do have, the government of India does have a website. It does have a, let's say, like, you know, authority that looks into all the adoption related aspects. Adoption means whether an Indian citizen wants to adopt a child, or a foreign couple wants to adopt an Indian child, or an Indian parent wants to adopt a foreign child. So that is, let's say, already let's say dealt with by the government through a different channel. But here, now the author is not talking about, let's say, like those nitty-gritties related to adoption. The author is talking about, let's say, like, you know, whenever adoption happens, right, and in case of dispute, how that dispute will be resolved, So author says that, like, you know, presently, what happens presently, there are many laws that are in place. Okay, so like, if I talk about adoption related rules, right? Adoption related laws that are in existence, right? So currently there are many different types of things that are present. So one thing is like which is mentioned through an act of the parliament, means a law is in place, right, which deals with adoption of, let's say, people from different communities. Other thing is like adoption that happens, let's say, like, for the child who belongs to Muslim families, adoption for the child who belongs to Hindu families or Hindu parents and all. So the thing is like there is a variation in this, okay? There is a variation how the adoption should happen. Now here, like, there is like related to this particular thing, the law that is in place, it is known as the Guardians and Wards Act 1890, okay? So there is an act which is known as the Guardians and Wards Act, okay? Wards Act 1980, okay? So there is an act, means like which is available, which is in place. Apart from this, we do have Hindu Minority Guardianship Act 1956, okay? Related to Hindus, they have Hindu, this particular thing, Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act. Minority and Guardianship Act 1956. This is in existence. Apart from this, for Muslims also they have an act, okay? They have an act related to Muslims also. So in Islamic laws, like they have a different act. So here in this article, the author has talked about like what are the differences in case of adoption related to, let's say, like, related to the law that is in existence and how they are different. So the author says currently all of these things, the Guardianship and Wards Act and the Islamic, like this particular Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act, they talk about like, if in case, let's say there was a couple, if in case the couple, thinks of getting separated, they think of getting separated, means like in case of divorce or in any other manner, if they think of getting separated, so there arises the issue of who is going to be the custodian of the child, okay? Who is going to be the custodian of the child? Custodian means who will be having the, let's say, like, rights to keep the child with him. So these laws deal with the rights of the parents. These laws deal with the rights of the parents. However, the author says that, like, in case of this Muslim personal law, here it is different. Here they are not talking about the rights of the parents. They are talking about the best interest of the child. Means in the best interest of the child, who should have the custody of the child? Means whether it should be the mother or it should be the father. So under Muslim laws, it, it is mentioned like that who should be having the guardianship, whether the mother or the father, okay? So this is the thing, it is taken care of with the best interest of the child. I mean, like, in Muslims. So they say, like, in Muslims, the father, I mean, like in Hindu, what happens in Hindu Minority Act, the father is given the, let's say, primacy, means like he will be having the custody of the child in case of his absence, like in case he is not there. So the custody will naturally go to the mother. But related to this also, there was a case in the Supreme Court of India, right? Related to this, this Supreme Court case. So it talked about the what do we mean by the absence of the father? Absence does not mean that like he is died, he should be died. It means if he is not there, in that case, the mother will be the guardian of the child. So there was a case also, and that name of the case is also mentioned in this article. So this is Geeta Hariharan, 1999. Okay, so Supreme Court of India has given a judgment in Geeta Hariharan in 1999. Okay, so Supreme Court of India has observed that it does not mean that the father should have died, only then mother will get custody. If he is not there, in that case the mother will get custody. Apart from this, in this article itself they have mentioned many cases also. For example, what happens, let's consider, in this article they have mentioned about a male person, right, who has raped a woman, okay, who has raped a woman, and out of that, right, they had a child, okay, they had a child, and the custody of the child was sought by the male partner and also by the female partner. However, what has happened, the court has given this particular thing to the male, but later on what happened, that this particular woman, okay, this particular woman, what she did, she has married another man, okay. After she married, this particular person kept the child back in some kind of juvenile justice home, okay, left him, right. The courts then, so this juvenile justice home, what they did, they have given the child for adoption to a third parent, okay, means so they have kept the child for adoption, and that has been adopted also. Later on, this particular person again filed a habeas corpus, okay, habeas corpus case for the authority, okay. So they have, let's say, brought back the child and given to him. Now here the author is saying that, in this case the child is being, let's say, taken from here to there, so they are not looking into the best interest of the child. They should look into the best interest of the child. So they say a person who is a rapist, so they should never be given, right? They should never be given the custody of the child. Here in this article says. And in this article, they say that this particular woman was only 17 years old, okay? She was only 17 years old. So the thing is, under this particular thing, this POXO should be applied. Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act. This should be applied. So the author finally says that, it is important that, the Uniform Civil Code, they should not only look for the biological parents. They should look for, what is the best interest of the child, okay. So far, the courts have been giving importance to the biological parents, that, they should have the custody. However, the author says that, the importance should be given to the best interest of the child. Importance should be given for the best interest of the child. Best interest of the child. And in this article, various case laws have been mentioned, okay. One of the case law is the Iftikhar case, okay. And there was another case, okay. So they have mentioned those case law. Nasreen Begum case, 2000, one of the cases. So I will be writing those case laws also. One of the cases, Nasreen Begum case, okay. Nasreen Begum case. Second case is Nasreen Begum case of 2022 and Iftikhar case 2021. 2022 and there was Iftikhar case, okay, 2021. So what happened in Iftikhar case 2021? It was they have mentioned shortly that the court moved on. So in the case, the court said the interest of the child and refused to give custody to the biological parents as the adoption was given only 5-day-old child. Means in this particular case, what has happened? Two parents, they went for a hill station somewhere. They had a child, and after 5 days, they have given that child to somebody. That you have the custody of the child, you adopt the child. So the person who has adopted the child, that person has, let's say, got it into written, so many things. But after some time, the biological parents approached after 7 years that we need the child. However, in this case, the court has given a decision on behalf of the adopted parents. Because they have, let's say, they have, they have cared the child from the beginning. Okay, the biological parents had just, had just looked into this particular thing. They have just, had the child. However, the adopted parents taken care of the child. So this is the thing. So in the Nasreen Begum case also, a similar thing has happened. Okay, the court has given a judgment in which the court has said that there should be best interest of the child should be protected. So the case that the author mentions that best interest of the child should be taken care of and the Uniform Civil Code should be progressive. Okay, so here the Uniform Civil Code looks into this particular aspect, which is adoption. So with this, we will move to the next topic quickly. This is another topic. It says, are natural disasters man-made? Okay, so the topic is, they are pondering upon are natural disasters, okay, are natural disasters man-made? Now the question is, how can natural disaster be man-made? So here the author says, right, here the author says that the natural disasters are man-made because of many reasons. Okay, natural disasters are man-made because of many reasons. One of the reasons is people are not looking into the sustainable development goals. I mean, they are doing reckless development. Okay, they are doing reckless development means while doing the development, they are not looking into the future sustainability. Okay, they are not looking into future sustainability, and this has raised. I mean, this kind of development has increased the occurrence of natural disaster. Natural calamity has increased because of the human-induced, let's say, things. So the author says in this article that the natural disasters that are happening, they are aggravated. The intensity of natural disasters are aggravated. Aggravated means intensity has increased. Okay, they have been aggravated because of human activity. Okay, and apart from this, they say that the highways, they say that the highways that are made, right, highways that are made on hilly areas, so those highways also see some kind of damage, and there are prolonged rainfall in hilly areas that leads to landslide and all. So they say that man-made natural disasters are not naturally man-made, but man is acting as one of the driving factors, because they are affecting the climate, they are doing reckless development, they are not looking into sustainable development goal thing. They have so this was a kind of interview between three people, so one editor and two persons. So the editor has also asked about whether the kind of development that you are doing, right, so whether people are aware of sustainable development and all. So the author says that knowledge is not absolute. The, let's say, knowledge level keeps on varying, and every day we learn something or other thing. But the authorities, right, who has the responsibility of making sure that the development that happens in their local areas, they should be sustainable, right? These developments should be sustainable. So they are saying the authorities are not looking into, they are performing their responsibility in the best possible manner. So it is because of negligence, it is because of overlooking by the authorities that people are doing reckless development. And when people are doing these kinds of development, sooner or later, this development is affecting themselves itself. So they say, here in this article, they have pointed out that there should be increased awareness among people, and also authorities should be made responsible for any kind of irregular development that happens in different areas. They say that in roads also, in many places, because we have constructed so many things that we do not get let's say natural rainfall to seep into the ground. Okay, so that thing is not there because of concretization of the places. So here in this article, they have just had discussion kind of thing where they discussed about, are natural disasters man-made? So they say they are not actually man-made, so they are actually aggravated by the human induced let's say activities. So this is the thing. This is a short article. I mean, here we have just talked about it, but this topic is very, very important. This is topic number 3. It says India sees the lowest August rainfall in a century. This topic is very important. This is important under environment and ecology, and also it is important for geography. Okay, it is important for geography because we understand about rainfall and rainfall patterns under geography. So in this article, they have discussed about that the rainfall level this year's August month has been 36% less than usually that happens in this particular month. And this is, let's say, like, this particular lesser rainfall has happened within a century, means like, in the last 100 years, this has been the lowest rainfall in the month of August. This has been the lowest rainfall. And what are the factors, what are the causes of lowest rainfall? So the causes that they have mentioned is, one of the causes that they have mentioned is El Nino. Okay, one of the causes that they have mentioned is El Nino. Okay, so we will understand what do we mean by El Nino. Okay, so one of the cause because of which like we had lesser rainfall is El Nino. Okay, so we will understand what do we mean by El Nino. El Nino is a natural climatic phenomena. Okay, so what happens, let's say this is the map of the globe, right? This is the map of the globe. If I draw a equator, let's say this is the equator, this is rough. Equator means, let's say this is the globe. If I divide the globe into two halves, the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, right? And this two half, I mean like this particular line is known as equator, and this is also known as 0 degree line. So this is equator line. So what happens on the Pacific Ocean, on the equatorial Pacific Ocean, means like this Pacific Ocean extends from north to south, long, it's a big ocean. So on the equatorial Pacific Ocean, in the eastern side of it, right, in the eastern side of it, when the sea surface temperature, okay, SST means sea surface temperature, when it is increases, okay, when the sea surface temperature increases, it leads to various phenomena across the world. Like different locations across the world are affected differently because of the rise of sea surface temperature in the equatorial eastern Pacific Ocean. So what effect does it have on India? In India, we see El Nino, right? We see El Nino phenomena. So now we need to understand what is El Nino, what are the effects of El Nino. Because of El Nino, what happens? Because of El Nino, what happens? In India, we see situation of drought. Okay, we see situation of drought. We see increase in temperature. Okay, so temperature increases, right? We see, let's say, like, lesser crop productivity. So El Nino is associated with lesser rainfall. It is associated with lesser rainfall in Indian subcontinent. Okay, so they say this is an El Nino phenomena. However, this increase in sea surface temperature here, happens on a frequency from 2 to 7 years. Okay, it has a frequency of 2 to 7 years. Sometimes the temperature in the eastern equatorial Pacific Ocean increases. Sometimes the temperature goes down. So when the temperature goes down over here, when the reverse of this particular thing happens, that particular phenomena is known as La Nina. That particular phenomena is La Nina. And the effect of La Nina is entirely different, right? It is opposite that of El Nino. So during La Nina year, during La Nina time, in India, we see increase in rainfall. We see increase in rainfall. We see increase in crop productivity. Okay, we see increase in crop productivity. We also see increase in vegetation, right? Increase in vegetation means like forest coverage, etc. So that also increases during La Nina. So El Nino and La Nina are opposite. So these phases, since they, let's say, keep on happening on a cyclical basis. First El Nino will come, then La Nina will come. Again El Nino will come, again La Nina will come. They are together known as El Nino Southern Oscillation. Okay, El Nino Southern Oscillation. They are known as ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation. Okay, so this is the thing. I mean, like in this article, basically they have mentioned. In this article, basically they have mentioned about like why there has been a, let's say, like, lesser rainfall in the month of August. So they say last time the El Nino phenomena that was seen, right, in the month of August, it was in 2005. And that time we had seen 25% lesser rainfall than normal. And that record was also 50 years low. Okay. But this time we have seen 36% lesser rainfall. And this is a record of 100 years low. Okay, record of 100 years low. That's the thing. So this is only which is mentioned in this article. So this data has been given by the India Meteorological Department. Okay, which department? India Meteorological Department. So with this, like, we have another topic. We are going to look into this quickly. It says Chandrayaan probe finds sparse plasma on moon. Okay. So basically, like, we have sent the Chandrayaan. Let's say this is the moon. Okay, let's say this is the moon. We have launched the Chandrayaan, or like we have made it land on the south pole of the moon. Let's say this is the south pole of the moon. So we have made it land over here, and what has landed? This module is known as lander module. Okay, lander module has landed over here. So from lander came out the rover. Rover is something which will travel on the surface of the moon. On the lander module, there are some kind of instruments that are included. They are known as payloads. Okay, these instruments are known as payloads. And on the rover also there are payloads. Okay, on the rover also there are payloads. So this rover is doing, let's say, collecting the samples from the surface of the moon by traveling there. And after collecting the sample, it is going to give data to the lander. Okay, after collecting sample, it is giving the data to the lander. And what lander is doing? Lander is doing in situ, right? In situ chemical analysis, right? In situ chemical analysis. And after doing that analysis, it is sending the data back to us on Earth. Okay, it is sending the data back to us. So recently, this lander module of the Chandrayaan 3 mission has given us data that, like, they have identified sparse plasma. Okay, plasma, or like we understand it is fourth state of matter, like that. So they have identified that sparse plasma. Sparse means lesser amount of plasma on the surface of the moon. So it is like 5 to 30 million. Okay, 30 million. 5 to 30 million electrons per cubic meter. Okay, electrons per cubic meter, per meter cube. Okay, so this much amount of plasma is found on the surface of the moon, on the surface of the moon. So this data, I mean, like, which payload of the lander module has conducted this? Name of this module is known as Rambha module. RAMBHA, Rambha LP module. Okay, so what is the full form of this Rambha LP module? It is known as the radio anatomy of the moon bound hypersensitive ionosphere and atmosphere, this Langmuir probe. Okay, so this is the full form of Rambha module. Rambha is a payload on the Chandrayaan mission, Chandrayaan 3 mission. Okay, so it has given us data that there is presence of sparse plasma on the surface of the moon. Yesterday also there was an article. In that article they have mentioned about various kinds of minerals that they have identified on the surface of the moon. Okay, so two of the objectives of the Chandrayaan mission has already been accomplished. That first one was to do a soft landing on the south pole of the moon. Second one was to demonstrate the rover roving on the surface of the moon. That has been achieved. The third objective, which is like conducting in situ chemical analysis, this is underway. Okay, this is underway. So it is happening as per the plan that ISRO has done. Okay, now we have a question. We are going to solve this question. It says, recently seen in the news, the term Rambha LP is a part of which of the following mission? So they have mentioned the name of the missions. So it is part of Chandrayaan 3 mission, right? So we just discussed about it. So it is very simple question on this. So like we have given explanation also to this question. You can go through it in free time. Now in the Hindu newspaper itself, in page number 11, this image came. Okay, just the image. They said that it is the picture of the week. Okay, it is treat for the eyes. So what is this? Basically here they have showcased the moon. Okay, what is this? This is moon. They have showcased moon, and this is a naturally captured photograph. So this naturally captured photograph, it is known as super blue moon. Okay, they have named it as super blue moon. It rises up, above the Apollo temple in ancient Greece. Okay, so like in ancient Greece on 30th of August, they have clicked this picture. So NASA has said that this moon is called super because it is slightly closer to the earth. Okay, it is slightly closer to the earth, and blue because it was the second full moon in the month of August. Okay, now we need to understand. Okay, now we need to understand that another thing. Let's consider. Let me draw the map. Okay, let's consider this is earth. Let's say this is earth. Let's say this is moon. Okay, this is moon. So when moon is doing revolution around earth, okay, when moon is doing revolution around the earth, so sometimes, okay, sometimes the moon is very close to the earth, sometimes it is little away from the earth. Let's say this is the what? Orbit of the moon. So when it is very near to the surface of the earth, okay, and when it is very far from the surface of the earth, right? So this is known as perigee. Okay, nearest point. This will be known as apogee. This will be known as apogee. So this super blue moon, second super blue moon that has been seen, this means at this point of time, this moon is closest to the surface of the earth. Okay, it is closest to the surface of the earth. So that's why they have named it this way. Okay, so that's why they have named it this way. So we have also included a question on this. It says, with reference to the super blue moon, consider the following statements. One of the statements says, it occurs when the moon's orbit is closest to the earth. At the same time, the moon is full. Okay, so here, like this information has been taken from the image itself. This statement is right. So super blue moon occurs when the moon's orbit is closest to the earth and the same time moon is full. Okay, so full moon we have seen. Second, lunar surface reflects the blue light to make it visible to the earth. Okay, so this information is wrong. Okay, it does not reflect blue light. Okay, so that's the thing. So correct answer would be option A. One only will be the right answer. Okay, option A is the right answer in this case. So this image is important. All of you need to see this image once again, right? So that will be helpful. So this is again the image that I have drawn. Okay, so like this is earth. Okay, I have just drawn this much there. Okay, I did not draw the entire because it shows the sun also. So this is earth, this is moon. When the moon is very close to the earth, which is known as perigee. Okay, when it is away from earth, it will be known as apogee. So this is what I have drawn. Okay, so when moon is very close to the earth, this is perigee. When it is very far from earth, it will be known as apogee. Okay, so here when it is very close, moon is close, it is perigee, away apogee. Okay, so this is the thing. Now when earth is very close to the sun, that is known as perihelion. When earth is very away from the sun, aphelion. Okay, so this is the thing. These are the terminologies. So with this, like we have another topic. This topic is important. It says Chinese President Xi yet to confirm presence at G20 summit in Delhi. Okay, so G20 summit is going to happen in September from I think 9th to 10th September. Okay, 9th to 10th September. So G20 summit is going to happen. During this time, most of the world leaders who are let's say like members of the G20, so they have already showed their intent of attending the G20 summit because India has invited all of them. So from Indian government side, from the Ministry of External Affairs, they have invited all the members of G20 summit here. However, some of the members, one of the let's say like Chinese premier, so he did not let's say confirm his presence. So people are asking why he is not coming. One of the issue that has recently arisen is because Chinese government has released a map. Okay, they have released a map, and this map is seen as a controversial map. Okay, controversial map. We are going to talk about this particular thing because in this map, This is the map, that showcases the territory of China. And in this territory, they have included Aksai Chin. They have included Arunachal Pradesh of India, right? And also third thing, they have claimed the South China Sea, okay? South China Sea in the map. So, like India has protested against it, but other countries have also started protesting. And maybe because of this reason, he is not participating. If he is not participating, then there will be some other minister from China. His name is Li Kuang. He is the Chinese premier, okay, at this point of time. So he may be participating there. Okay. So this is the thing. So in this article, they have not mentioned much. They have just talked about this, like, the participation related things. Now this is another topic. This topic is important. It is related to the map related issues. So it says mapping ties. Okay, mapping ties. So Chinese government has recently released the map, and that was an official map that is released by Ministry of Natural Resources of China. So they have claimed some of the territories of India. So now in this article, they say that Chinese government should be sensitive towards its neighbors, that, like, if they are claiming the territory of neighboring country, so they will not appreciate this particular step of China. So in this article, they have said that China must show neighbors the sensitivity that it demands, of them. So in this article, they have talked about the map, and name of the map is standard map. Okay, they have released the standard map for 2023. Many people has asked the Chinese authorities that this map that you have released, right, it showcases the territory of India also, territory of other countries. So they denied. They said, like, this is a standard thing. We release it every year. This showcases Chinese territory only. So this is the version of China. So in this article, they have just mentioned about it. However, in this article, they have mentioned that, like, they have included Aksai Chin, like they have also included Arunachal Pradesh entirely. Okay. So I'm going to showcase map of China. So this is Arunachal Pradesh. This shaded region over here, China used to claim this particular thing as their own territory. However, the entire area, this area is under India. Okay, so it is under India's control, and it is Indian territory, right? So this is the thing. So it was a disputed territory, and the border line that we have with China at this point of time, over here at this location, this is known as McMahon line. Okay, McMahon line. And the border that we have over here with China, this is known as line of actual control, LAC. Okay, line of actual control. So here, I mean, they have claimed territory, they have claimed territory over here also. Okay, so this is the dispute that is there, and this is the map of China that I have included. Okay, so in this map, like, we have the entire portion of Northeast India and all. Okay, so this is the thing. And like the map that they have released, in that map, they have also claimed South China Sea as their own territory. So there has been a dispute related to South China Sea between Chinese government and, let's say, Philippines, and, like, there are many countries, and one of the country has filed a case in the Permanent Court of Arbitration. Okay, in the Permanent Court of Arbitration, PCA. The Permanent Court of Arbitration had given a judgment in 2016, and they have said, they have denied China's claim. Okay, they have denied China's claim. So they have given verdict in favor of the other nations in Southeast Asia. Okay, so this Permanent Court of Arbitration, I mean, like, although they have given a judgment, very clear judgment against China, however, China did not accept this judgment, because the judgments of the Permanent Court of Arbitration, although it is legally binding, but the thing is, there is no mechanism of enforcing those judgments, because, like, it is an international court. In case of domestic courts, the judgments that they give, there are mechanisms also of enforcing them. But in international law, it is not there. And Chinese government, I mean, like, did not accept the judgment. Later on, they did not participate also in the hearings of the court. However, the recent map that China has released, they have claimed the 9-dash line also. What is 9-dash line? 9-dash line is a line, virtual line that they have drawn, and here they have created some artificial islands, right, to claim the South China Sea territory, okay, to claim the South China Sea territory. And related to sea related affairs, there is a law that is in place which is known as United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. This is known as UNCLOS, okay. So this UNCLOS of 1982, basically it talks about how the maritime boundaries is to be demarcated between different countries. What is territorial, let's say territorial water exclusive economic zone. So it talks about that thing. In case a maritime boundary falls between two countries that do not have, let's say, like 200 nautical miles distance, in that case the middle line would form the international boundary according to this United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. So this 9-dash line is important for us to remember that, like, where is it is located. So 9-dash line is, let's say, like this particular 9-dash line encircles the South China Sea. Why 9-dash? Because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 9-dash. And there are many islands also. What islands are there? This Paracels Island, Pratas Island, then Spratly Island, Scarborough Shoal, then this Mashel Field Bank, then they have Senkaku Islands. So it is important to remember these islands from north to south or south to north. I mean, like, that way it should be remembered. Initially you remember Senkaku, then this Pratas, then you remember this one, Paracels, then this one, then this one, and this one, like this. It is important so that, like, if they ask a question like, north to south arrangement, south to north arrangement of these islands, you should be able to, let's say, answer a question in prelims exam. Now we have another topic. This topic is again important. It says, after India, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia protest China's map. Okay. So how many countries are protesting? India, Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia. So far, 4 countries, okay, 4 countries have protested against the map that Chinese government has released. So here, I mean, like, they have claimed the reason Aksai Chin, South China Sea, Arunachal Pradesh, and all. So we have already discussed about it. However, I just included this topic so that you should be knowing. In this article, they have mentioned about United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea also. This UNCLOS, 1982 UNCLOS provision. Okay, so like the countries have pointed out that China should adhere to the international laws, international principles that are in place. So international law means the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. So they say, like, whatever claim China has made through releasing the map, so this claim is not in sync with the international laws that are in place. Okay, so it is not, let's say, in tune with the international laws. So this is the thing. Now we have another topic. This topic is important. It says ONDC a pivotal force. ONDC a pivotal force set to enhance digital commerce. So what is ONDC? ONDC stands for Open Network for Digital Commerce. Okay, Open Network for Digital Commerce. So what is this? This is basically our platform. ONDC is a platform, online platform that the government of India has created. So it is created by the government, and this platform is envisaged that it will provide a level playing field among e-commerce companies. For example, at this point of time, the e-commerce sector is being dominated by few entities. For example, Amazon, Flipkart and all. And they are the ones who are making the maximum profit. How? Because all the businesses who list their products over there, right, for selling through the e-commerce platform, they have to pay a huge amount of marginal fee to them as commission, right? The government of India has come up with this open network for digital commerce. This will allow the small companies, medium companies, all sort of, like, all size companies to list their products over here. From here, they can directly sell it to the customers. Here, the charges will be minimal and it will provide level playing field. not only they will be able to sell the products from here, it will also integrate, let's say, like, delivery services. For example, we might have heard about delivery, okay? Delivery. It will also include, let's say, cab-based services, Ola, Uber. Through this particular platform, people will be able to make direct payments also. So like it is going to integrate all different sorts of services. For example, even Zomato, Swiggy, they can list themselves over here. They will be able to provide their services through this platform. So it is envisaged that like it will be providing services in different kind of e-commerce sectors. I mean, not only for selling and buying of goods, but also like, for delivery related thing, payment related thing, all of these things will be integrated. So recently what has happened, this Deloitte India, so Deloitte is a private company, okay, so this Deloitte India, it is a multinational company. So they have released a white paper, okay, they have released a white paper and they have done a study of the open network for digital commerce. After doing a study, so they have come up with this particular thing, okay, so they say that India's digital, this ONDC framework, it is building India's digital public infrastructure, and they say like, this has lot of potential to increase, right, increase profitability of small companies, and it is going to bring India to the next level, because like Indian government is going to, let's say like, India is going to see growth in economy, which will be fueled by this ONDC network. At this point of time, this is in the nascent state, like beginning stage. However, this ONDC, I mean like has been initiated by government of India long back, but people are, slowly and gradually they are listing themselves here, okay. So this is the thing, and this particular platform has been built on this blockchain technology, okay, it is built on this blockchain technology. So that is also important. So this article is good, okay, so they have just talked about ONDC. However, like, I have explained about what is ONDC and all. With this, like we have another topic. It says fiscal deficit touched 33.9% of financial year 24 target at end July. So recently the Controller General of Accounts, CGA stands for Controller General of Accounts. Controller General of Accounts. So Controller General of Accounts has recently did an analysis of the accounts of the central government. So they have come up with this particular thing, that the fiscal deficit, right, fiscal deficit for India has, let's say, like touched 33.9%. So what is fiscal deficit? Fiscal deficit means revenue minus expenditure, okay, minus expenditure. So when like we subtract expenditure from revenue, if we come up with negative, right, so that is known as fiscal deficit, okay, otherwise it will be fiscal surplus. Means revenue means the sources of income. From income you are doing expenditure. If you are doing more expenditure, so you will be in negative. That is known as deficit, okay, fiscal deficit. So fiscal deficit is calculated over a financial year, okay, financial year. So financial year starts from 1st of April until 31st of March, okay. So they have recently calculated that like, the fiscal deficit has touched this particular thing, 33.9%, which is around 6.06 lakh crore rupees, okay. This is 6.06 lakh crore rupees. So they say it is a very high, fiscal deficit is very high, and this also showcases that government of India has not been following the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act, okay. So we have a FRBM Act of 2006. According to that, the government of India has to keep, right, its expenditure, a fiscal deficit at about, let's say, 3 to 4% bracket, but now it has reached 33.9%. So like, it is like not in sync or tune with the act that is in place. So this is another topic. It says economy grows 7.8% fastest in 4 quarters. Fiscal deficit is a different thing. We are doing more expenditure, we are having lesser income. This showcases how the economy is growing. But they have shared that it has grown by 7.8%. However, last year, same June 2022, we had 13 point some percent, okay, 13.1% I think. And here, like, now we have 7.8%. So if we compare it from the previous year's record, so it is much less. However, in this article, they have said that India's gross domestic product grew by 7.8% in the first quarter of financial year. First quarter means 1st of April till June. Okay, means like every year we have 4 quarters. Okay, every year, 1 year we will be having 4 quarters. Okay, 1 year, 4 quarters. So first quarter will be till June. Okay, it's going to be till last of June. Okay, from April to June, April, May, June, right? Then second quarter will be from July till September, right? Then third quarter, then October to December, then fourth quarter. So they say that, like, economy has grown by this particular thing, fastest in 4 quarters. So they have taken into account just 1 year of data. Okay, 1 year of data. So this is just they have mentioned. So they say, like, but it was the services sector that saw the sharpest surge and lifted the estimates released by the. So this estimate has been released by National Statistical Office. Okay, it is also important. So this GDP related thing data is released by NSO, National Statistical Office, and they say that the manufacturing sector has manufacturing and, let's say, like, construction sector has seen a dip. I mean, like, they have gone down. However, the services sector has gone up, and because of that, there was an overall, let's say, like, overall increase. So that has increased by this particular thing. Okay, so this is all means like in this article. So we do have a question related to this. Consider the following statements regarding gross domestic product and gross value added. Okay, so this gross domestic product, it helps us in understanding what is the total productivity of an economy, means within the geographical territory of the economy. That includes the Indian nationals also, foreign nationals also, who are working inside the geographical territory. Okay, this is gross domestic product. Gross value added means like on the raw materials, what value addition you are doing. Okay, so that is gross value added. So there are different methods of calculation of national income. This is known as national income accounting. So they have asked about a question related to this. It says GDP maps the economy from the expenditure or demand side. That is by adding up all the expenditures. Okay, so there are expenditure method, income method and all. It says GDP maps the economy from the expenditure or demand side. That is by adding up all the expenditure. Second, it says GVA provides a picture of economy from the supply side, gross value added. Third, GVA maps the value added by different sectors of the economy. Okay, so this may seem to be difficult, however, it is not difficult. Okay, so now we need to identify which of the above statements are correct. So all the people who are watching online, so they need to check. Okay, I think it got stuck, the video. Okay, video got stuck. Okay, so all the 3 statements are right. Okay, so you can go through the explanation also of this topic. So that's all from my side for the day. Thank you so much for everyone for attending, and for offline student also for attending today's session. Thank you.